You know what's strange about highly anxious people? They're almost always the smartest ones in the room. And yet their entire lives, they've been told something is wrong with them. What if the medical system got it completely backwards? What if anxiety isn't a weakness at all, but just what high intelligence feels like from the inside? Here are 10 signs your anxiety is actually your brain operating at a level most people never reach. Sign 1. You overthink every decision. Aiden spent 40 minutes choosing between 2 job offers. Same salary, same hours, same city. His friends thought he was being ridiculous. But 3 months later, one of those companies laid off half its staff. Aiden had already seen the signs. He just couldn't explain how. That's not anxiety. That's a brain running simulations everyone else's mind doesn't even know how to open. Sign 2. You replay conversations. You said something at dinner last Tuesday. It's now Saturday and you're still hearing it on repeat. Not because you're insecure. Because your brain recorded every micro-expression, every tone shift, every pause, and it's still processing what it all meant. Psychologists call this social pattern recognition. The same skill that makes the best therapists, negotiators, and leaders in the world. Sign 3. You catastrophize. Before every important moment, your mind builds the worst-case scenario in vivid detail. Sophia did this before every presentation at work. Her colleagues called her a pessimist. But Sophia was never blindsided, never unprepared, never caught off guard. Because while everyone else was hoping for the best, Sophia had already survived the worst in her mind 100 times over. Psychologists call this defensive pessimism. Highly intelligent people use it like armor. Sign 4. You feel everything deeply. You walk into a room and immediately feel the tension nobody else has noticed yet. Someone says they're fine, and you know without a single word that they're not. This isn't anxiety making you paranoid. Research shows the higher your IQ, the deeper and faster your brain processes emotional information. You don't just read the room. You feel every frequency in it. Sign 5. You can't stop asking why. Marcus drove his teachers crazy with questions at school. They told him to stop overcomplicating things. 20 years later, he built a company by questioning an entire industry nobody else thought to question. That relentless why, the one that exhausts everyone around you, is the same engine that drives every breakthrough in human history. Sign 6. You struggle to sleep. It's 2 a.m. Everyone is asleep. Your brain is having its most interesting conversation of the day. Studies show highly intelligent people are more mentally active at night, connecting ideas, solving problems, processing emotions the conscious mind hasn't had time to reach. The world calls it insomnia. Your brain calls it its best working hours. Sign 7. You constantly doubt yourself. Here's the paradox nobody talks about. The most intelligent people in any room are almost always the most convinced they don't belong there. Because the smarter you are, the more clearly you see the gap between where you are and where you could be. That self-doubt isn't weakness. It's awareness. And awareness, however uncomfortable, is always the beginning of growth. Sign 8. You notice things nobody else does. Priya noticed her friend was struggling 3 weeks before her friend admitted it to anyone. She couldn't explain how she knew. She just knew. That hypervigilance, that constant scanning of every room, every face, every tone, isn't paranoia. It's a brain so finely tuned it picks up signals most people's minds simply filter out. Sign 9. You feel uncomfortable in small talk. How are you? Good. Weather's nice. Busy lately. For most people, this is fine. For you, it feels almost physically uncomfortable. Not because you're antisocial, but because your mind craves depth the way other people crave food. Surface conversation feels like being handed a children's book, when your mind is built for something entirely different. Sign 10. You always feel like something is wrong, even when everything is fine. There's a quiet unease underneath it all, like you're waiting for something nobody else has prepared for. Psychologists link this to existential intelligence, a deep awareness of life's uncertainty that most minds instinctively block out. Your mind doesn't block it out. It sits with it, studies it, tries to understand it. That's not a flaw. That's philosophy happening in real time. Payoff plus resolution. Emma spent 27 years believing something was wrong with her. The anxiety, the overthinking, the sleepless nights, the constant self-doubt. She tried to fix all of it. And then one day her therapist said something that changed everything. She said, what if there's nothing to fix? What if this is just what it feels like to have a mind like yours? Emma stopped fighting herself that day. Not because the anxiety disappeared, but because she finally understood what it was. Her brain working exactly the way it was built to work. You were never broken. You were never too much. You were just never given the right framework to understand what your mind was actually doing.